Hey there, in this video we are going to cover what you need to do in this first week. Unfortunately, there is a lot to do in this first week, and this is to some degree true throughout the course because we're trying to cram what is typically goes on across 15 weeks into 6. So I just want to walk you through and make sure you understand where and what you should do within the course. So pretty soon, as early as Monday, really no later than Wednesday, you should complete the this first mini module called Before Starting Module 1. And then by Sunday of this first week, you should be on to and completing Module 1 in its entirety. So let's take a look first at Before Starting Module 1. So when you come in here, what you will find is there will be a list of videos. These are some of them, but I have a few more to create. And these will all be links. So you can click on this and click on each video link and watch it. Understanding, learning, taking notes on what are the important things to cover. When you move there, just come on over and give this a brief read, learn about me. I am interested in learning about you and certainly will throughout these 6 weeks, but I also want you to get a sense of who I am and why I'm here teaching this course. Then we get into our introductory activities, and these will be important for you to do. They're not, sometimes students think these are busy work. They're really important on my end to make sure you understand a few things about how the course runs, to make sure you can do certain things that we'll be doing substantially in this throughout these 6 weeks. And also just for me to learn about you. I am interested in what brings you here, what brings you, why you're taking this course, and learning more about just who you are. So these are all important for us to do in these first few days. So let's talk about annotating the syllabus. Annotating the syllabus is going to entail reading through the syllabus and highlighting or commenting upon anything that grabs your attention, whether it's something interesting, something good, something you want to validate, something you want to challenge. Those are opportunities you can do throughout anywhere, but then most importantly, under course expectations, we have these sections of expectations of the students and expectations of the instructor. What I charge you to do is to add to this. Either recommend new things to add, augment, or recommend edits, right? So you might want to highlight something and add a comment and make that comment. And I encourage you to do that. I'll take all the feedback and we can reformulate some of this syllabus, okay? So that's going to be your first activity. Once you're done doing all of that, you should come all the way down here to the bottom, highlight anywhere around the bottom here. You can just be like that. Select the annotate button again, that add a comment, and put your initials just to confirm that you have completed this activity, that you've read through, and at this point you are done making any comments. All right, so that's annotating the syllabus. The complete time management activity is something you're going to do here, and then you're going to bring it forward when we do the introduction discussion. But initially, what I want you to do is to sit down and actually map out your time. How much time are you spending on different things in your life, and where is the time you're going to come up with for doing this course? And I don't do this because I don't believe you'll make time. I do this because this is a useful thing to think about. It is a useful thing to plan for, and why not make sure you can plan for it? I know your lives are incredibly busy and incredibly complex, so adding a course to it on top of maybe a full-time job and maybe family you're taking care of, maybe there's a variety of things and obstacles in your life. I need to get a sense, and I think you also need to get a sense of where is the time coming from to dedicate to your learning, because that's why you're here. As you've said, I want to take this course, I want to learn, I want to complete this course and go further in my education. So have you made time for it? Because in an online course, we often forget to make time for it. It's easier when it's face-to-face. You've got to show up to class on Tuesday at 11 a.m., but it's not always clear when you've got to show up to do some of the work in an online course. So do that, perform this little reflective exercise, and hold on to that because we'll come back to it. The next is I just want you to go over to the questions discussion, and after looking at all the support material, that is the different materials under course materials, after looking at the syllabus, if you have any questions, ask them early, right now in the questions forum. If you don't have any questions, just go over there and say, you can even copy and paste the statement. I fully comprehend the syllabus, the assignment guidelines, and the course expectations activities. Boom. Again, I'm wanting to make sure you go and use the questions forum as it is there to help you and to help me. The next is taking a look at and working through the academic integrity guide. So I want to make sure you understand what the expectations are around academic integrity. Make sure you're familiar with them and that you're considering them. And then I want you to download this form called Academic Integrity Form. Type your name at the bottom, save the document to your desktop, and then upload it and submit it here. And I really do want you to take a little time with that academic integrity guide. My goal there is to help you understand what you should be doing to uphold your academic integrity, because I think it's very easy to stumble. It's very easy to make mistakes. It's very easy to overlook things, and that can get students in trouble. That's not my MO here. I want just students to understand the importance and the value of things like citations, of using your own words, of making sure if you're taking things from other places, you're citing them, all of that. There's a very important value to understanding where our information and our ideas come from. Great. So the last and final thing, just for this initial getting started, is the introduction discussion. And so there I want you to tell us about yourself. And in doing so, make sure you share a couple of, make sure you hit these things that are bold and tell us about yourself. Make sure you come back to that question about, which is right here, share your insights about what you will have to adjust in your life after completing the time management form. I think we can all learn from one another. We can all be enriched by the different tools and tactics that we all find to get through our lives and to juggle the different demands that we're dealing with. Okay, so that is that first part, right? That's what we really need to get done by Wednesday. For Module 1, this is the actual getting into and thinking about reading and writing. This course is about an introduction to literature, and in order to do that, we have to think about the two major components there, which is reading and writing. So when you click on that link, it will bring you over to here. This is kind of an introductory layout of here are the things you want to be thinking about. And before we get too far into reading, I'm going to actually have you read a few articles about metacognition, which if you haven't heard of it before, can sound kind of a weird thing. But all metacognition is really thinking about how you learn. Thinking about how you make sense of things. And it's a really interesting, powerful thing to do and to consider as a practice, because it can amplify your learning. It can make things stick so much better if you give time and space to practice certain metacognitive activities so that you are priming your brain to take in the information and make sure it's there as you need it. Take in the lessons, the skills, etc. So we'll do a bit about that. We'll do a bit about learning about reading. I'll mention my office hours so that you know that you can and should come to them. I'll be holding office hours every week for probably about 2 hours. Those are open to everybody. If you want to come by and have a general conversation about the course, a specific conversation about your work, if you want to engage in whatever, that is time. I encourage you to come and chat with me. So this is the learning guide for week 1. So you'll want to kind of read through this. This gives you some insights and things to think about as you get to the second half here, which is where you want to start doing the different, we have on the left side, the learning activities, and then on the right side, the learning materials, and then on the right side, the learning activities. So you always want to do what's on the left before going to the right. In this case, we have a variety of readings. And notice I'll have timestamps to give you a sense. Those aren't always going to be accurate. Sometimes they're going to be over or under. And don't let that be a reflection of what it means for you as a reader. These are estimates. I would rather you take the time you need to get it done than worry about what the estimated time is. So these are the different readings that we'll be encountering. Some of these, as you'll see when you see things like just the timestamp, 3 minutes 6 seconds, that means it's a video, right? So introduction to a reading literature, that's almost 15 minutes long. So there's a mixture of reading and videos here, and you'll find that's the case throughout. Then by Thursday, I want you to read a very short story by Ernest Hemingway. It's about 2 pages. And as soon as you read that, and this is typical of most of the literature, most of the things that we read, right after reading it, as close as you can, you want to do the reader response, because each week the reader response takes you through a series of prompts to really think about and get your own thoughts and observations down. And that, again, as you'll learn about metacognition, that's an important part of this process. By Friday, you'll want to start to do some annotations within this short story. So whenever you see annotations, it's always referring to whatever the readings were on Thursdays of that week. So they're due on Friday, but it should be with relation to the readings that are on Thursdays. And then by Sunday, you will want to do a reflective activity that you'll be doing each week. Reply to annotations. So if other people also annotated a very short story, reply to them. If I've gone in and asked questions, either of you directly or just in general, you might try replying to those. And then you'll want to get your article analysis selection, which is part of your first assignment. This is finding a research article, and then next week, week 2, you'll be writing about that research article. So that's week 1. There's a lot going on, but I think all of it's doable. And I think if you have questions, if you have concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to me. All right. Thank you so much.